Hey, welcome to the Drippin' Stone podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
That was the most pregnant of pauses. That was a very long
that was
pause.
Intentional.
Yeah, everyone's like, "What happened?"
Yeah, that was like an elephant pregnancy. Are they pregnant for like 2 years or something like that?
It's a long gestational period.
Got 17 trimesters.
Correct. Man, it is summer.
It is full blast summer,
Dude. When I get, oh, by the way, like this feels right.
It feels familiar.
It does feel familiar. We have not recorded in the library in a minute.
It's been a hot minute.
And I
Very
drove very hot. That's what I was gonna say. I drove over here to the library, and first of all, I was excited because like I haven't been in the library in a minute.
Yeah.
Got here, got out of the car, and immediately was sucker punched in the face.
Yeah.
By heat and humidity.
It is nasty out there today.
Like,
has been for quite a while, actually.
Sure, but I'm wear black t-shirts.
Yeah,
but I got out of the car and I could feel the sun through my t-shirt.
Yeah, you're getting cooked.
Oh yeah, and I was only out there 2 minutes.
Yeah,
you came out to help grab some recording.
Assist.
Yeah, and I'm already like drenched.
Yeah, I mean I always run hot anyway, but this time of year it's like forget about it. I'm just chugging water because I'm always sweaty. Yeah. Yeah,
it's gross.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And I recently did a trip to the Caribbean.
Yep.
And got out, walked around a little bit, and it's toasty hot down there too.
Right.
But there's always like a bit of a maritime kind of breeze.
Sure.
Got back here and went, ugh. It's like walking through soup.
Yeah.
So
it's nasty.
All of you people, all the listeners,
all of yins
who are planning on visiting Central Florida this summer, maybe you're already here.
Right.
And you're sitting in your cold hotel room because you're like, this sucks. I think we're here to attest that, yeah, Florida in the summer sucks.
Indeed it does.
And especially those of you people who are planning on going to the new theme park, which I've heard, what was it called? Epic Universe.
Yeah. Which
I've heard has very little shade in general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So y'all have fun now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Me neither.
You know what I am doing, though?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to crack open a beer. You want a beer?
Hey, all right.
Yeah, because this is a Drippin' Stone episode, Kyle, and that's how we start things.
We need a beverage.
We do, and we've got a special beverage.
Oh.
Yeah, one that we've actually featured before.
Yeah.
But this is just how we're starting the episode because, well, everyone's read the episode. We are talking about Jaws.
Dun-na. Yeah, that one.
That Jaws, not the crappy James Bond villain, not that one.
Right. Jaws.
And because we're talking about Jaws this week, I think it's befitting that we crack open the famous Narragansett lager.
Narragansett.
Yeah,
out of
Narragansett. Out of, well, that's an interesting question. Technically, the Narragansett that we're drinking is made in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
Narragansett went through some changes over the last years, but they've been brewing technically since 1890.
Wow.
But Narragansett is right there on the bay in Providence, Rhode Island. It's a great spot. They're doing small brewery stuff there, but if you go to a store and you find a can of Narragansett lager, which, Kyle, is made on honor and it's sold on merit.
I wouldn't expect that.
Well, it's on the can.
Oh,
Hi, neighbor.
Hey.
That this is
Hi,
actually
neighbor, what?
Havagansett.
Havagansett.
Hi, neighbor. Havagansett.
Nice.
This is actually brewed in New York.
But traditionally,
yeah,
it was in Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island, yeah.
And they got bought up.
I don't.
Or did they just move location?
I don't know, like all the
history
of it, but like so many of these older beer brands, it was, it stopped being brewed for a while. They brought it back, blah blah blah. This, that, and the other.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's named after Narragansett Bay, which if you look at Rhode Island, that's basically most of the state.
Gotcha.
The ocean state.
Gotcha.
But why we're doing the Narragansett lager, Kyle, is because in the film Jaws,
yep,
Quint, that's his go-to.
Yep,
is Narragansett, and he crushes. If you've ever seen Jaws, he crushes a can like it's nothing.
Yep, shoots a beer.
Yep,
crushes that can,
and then Chief Brody crushes the
the
styrofoam cup.
I think it's plastic. I think it's just like a plastic cup. But
is it Brody or is it
it's Hooper?
It's Hooper that it's Hooper that crushes it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's open this and crush one.
Let's do it.
What'd you think of that?
Oh, that was beautiful.
I don't think Narragansett's really a glass beer, but we're going to do it because we only have one can.
Yeah, one tall boy. Man, that sounds great.
Thanks. Okay.
When's the last time you had a Narragansett? Can you name it?
Yeah, 3 days ago, maybe.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
You keep them on.
I do, yeah. Narragansett, and Carol. It's because my wife Carol, she loves Narragansett.
Yeah.
It's one. I'm gonna say it's her favorite beer.
Is it easily found around here?
Yeah, surprisingly, and I think it's because there's a lot of people from New England that come down here. Yeah. You can pretty easily find it at our local Publix supermarkets.
Do they?
Yeah. They come in tall boys basically only. I think that's all I've ever seen it.
Okay.
And 6-pack of tall boys.
Can't beat it.
And it's like, I don't know, $10 for a 6-pack, something like that. If you go to like a Wine Totally, sometimes you can find them there. They are distributed better down here than they used to be.
Gotcha.
But we've got a local store that always carries it. And so that's my wife's go-to beer, and I'm for it.
There you go. I can remember the last time I had one.
Yeah? It was with me?
Yeah.
When we did it last time for the episode.
No.
No?
No, we've had one since then.
Oh, on the golf course?
Maybe, but no.
When did we have one?
We had one in Maine.
Did we really?
At that Tiger breakfast
shop
yeah,
we did.
Whatever the hell that was.
That's right.
But they had Narragansett.
They had Narragansett. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
That was the last one I've had.
Yeah, man. And it's a light beer, man. It's just beer.
But it's not light beer.
I wasn't gonna say that. It's a light colored beer.
Yeah, but it definitely doesn't look like
golden,
like a Michelob Ultra.
No. I don't mean that.
Color
I'm gonna say golden, but
yeah.
it's not like a. It's not a stout. It's not something super heavy.
Nah.
Comes in at 5%, so it's it's not gonna
wear you out.
Yeah, not gonna make your day worse for the wear if you have one or two.
There you go.
Malty goodness on the nose.
Yeah,
smells like beer.
Smells like beer, like in the best way.
Yeah,
just
a slight hoppy note.
Yep, little dank, some sugary notes.
Yep,
some sweetness,
but just overall smells like beer.
Yeah, smells great.
Yeah,
smells like summer.
Shall we?
Yeah, we shall. Hell yeah.
What's it taste like?
Tastes like beer.
Exactly.
All the same things.
Yeah.
Like it's a perfect match for the nose. I would say all the same stuff. It's malty deliciousness, a little touch of sweetness.
Yep.
And just a little bit of beer funk on it.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Easy going.
Yeah.
Easy. This to me, it's it could be a lawnmower beer.
Sure.
Could be a cooling off beer. Could be a
dinner beer.
It's just a good all around beer.
Tastes like beer.
Tastes like beer.
That is a beer. Quint, I understood now. Like, I mean, hell yeah. Sitting on a boat, chasing a fucking monster shark. Hell yeah. I'm cracking one of these open and just chugging it. And
yeah,
as soon as I see it, I'm going to throw that can and ping it right off that shark's forehead. Bing.
Exactly.
Chew on that, buddy.
I'm gonna be in that like badass captain's chair, in the back, or that fisherman's chair.
Nah, I'm right up there on that plank off the front bow.
Oh yeah,
just ding.
I think it's one of those. I've come to realize like I love a lot of variety in beer, but I always gravitate back to something like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Something that's just not challenging. It's not going to break the bank. It's not challenging.
It's perfection.
Correct.
It's beer perfection in every sense of the word. Of like when you think quintessential beer, this is it. Like this is what you really think of.
Correct.
Like this would be the dictionary.
This
image.
Beer.
This is what beer is. It's this.
Yeah, and I think that like a lot of people that love light beer, like actual light beer,
right?
They get a light beer and a light beer tends to be a little more watery. It tends to be a little more bland.
Sure.
Whereas something like this, it is not a light beer. It is straight up lager, is really what they want. It's not super filling. It's got a little bit of chew.
Yep.
On the mouth, but it's got a lot of the flavor of beer.
Yeah. Just a smidge of viscosity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got some mouthfeel to it. And it's not watery. It's not going the other direction of being like overly flavor overload.
Exactly.
It's not going that way. It's just like in this sweet spot.
It's going to pair with things.
Perfect. Oh yeah, totally.
And that's, I mean, to me, like one of my favorite things to do when I'm in that area is go to a clam shack and, get some clam strips, get some, maybe a clam cake and get a good chowder and a Narragansett.
Yep.
And like that's what I want because it's going to pair with all those things super well.
Yep. Some fried fish.
All of that to say, this is a fantastic beer.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And I know that we've said it before on the episode where we featured it, and not that we're not talking about it here, but made on honor. So
if you got it right, and it's you keep it simple, nothing to go wrong.
Not at all.
Just perfect. Is this like, do they do any kind of experimental stuff, releases and things?
Yeah. They've done, and I think we've maybe even featured the Dell's Summer Shandy, which lemonade and water. That's Narragansett. But they also do some aged beers. They've done that. They've also, in Rhode Island, coffee milk is a big thing in Rhode Island specifically.
Right. Yeah.
And
the side story.
Yeah.
Like in my spiel at work, now your buffet, like soft drinks are included, sodas, coffee, milk, tea.
Yeah.
And like every so often I'll get somebody say, y'all got coffee milk?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Like coffee or milk.
Comma milk. Yeah. And like y'all from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Or like maybe southwestern Massachusetts.
Right. Like, no. We don't have coffee. Coffee, milk, tea.
Right.
All that's included.
Yeah. So one of the big coffee milk, and maybe even the only coffee milk syrup brands, is Autocrat. And it's a super iconic logo. It's a red and yellow label with a bird and like the somebody flicking the bird at you. It's like a brown bottle. That is one. I think there's like two competing coffee milk syrups. That's one of them, and they do a stout with Autocrat. Yeah, and I've not had that one, but it's cool. They also do like an IPA, their fresh catch. So they do a bunch of other things. It's not just Narragansett Lager. In fact, weirdly, the last time we went to the Narragansett Brewery, they actually don't have the lager.
What?
Yeah, they don't have the lager.
That's wild.
I don't know if it's a thing. Like, I don't know. And so we're actually visiting that area tomorrow as of recording. But when this comes out, we're already back.
Right.
And I looked, and it's not on tap at the Narragansett Brewery.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Bizarre. Because you're coming here to have something different.
Correct. And
you can go walk across the street to the gas station
and get the regular Narragansett. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, and that might be it. Or maybe there's something like distribution rights kind of thing. I don't know how any of that.
Something crazy.
Yeah. But this kicks off our discussion on the film Jaws.
Yeah, we decided to do that. One, because it's big anniversary year.
Yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of the release of Jaws, 1975.
Kind of crazy. The original summer blockbuster.
Yeah, like legitimately the first, to my understanding, the first summer blockbuster.
So, preface, I had never seen Jaws.
Which is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, it was... Steven Spielberg, apparently his early work is a bit of a miss for me, because for the longest time I'd never seen E.T.
Oh, you've actually seen E.T. since?
I've seen E.T. I probably saw E.T. now probably like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
When kids were little, we watched it.
I thought you'd still never seen E.T.
No, I finally did watch E.T.
Okay. I was telling somebody the other day that Kyle's never seen E.T. and they're like...
I mean, for the longest time, that was it.
Okay.
But Jaws has been the other one.
Yeah.
And so for this conversation, you said... do me a favor and watch Jaws.
Yeah.
So we can talk about Jaws. And I did. Watched it last night for the first time. But the crazy thing is that at this point in time, it's got so much notoriety and it's got so many... it's such a part of pop culture. Mm-hmm. It's referenced in so many other things that like I kind of felt like I had seen it.
And yeah, I can see that. Absolutely, I can see that.
Like I already knew like we're gonna need a bigger boat. Like you know quotes from it.
Sure.
It's one of those movies. It's so iconic
that
it does just kind of feel like you've already seen it.
For sure.
Even though you haven't. And then so watching it was kind of this like
familiarity.
Yeah, weirdly like I know what's gonna happen kind of a thing, even though I've technically never watched the movie. Like it was one of those ones that like when we were growing up, it was on TV.
Exactly.
Every weekend or something like that, especially during the summer and stuff like that. But
I feel like
interesting.
I feel like if you've never seen Star Wars is exactly the same. The original Star Wars. If you saw what's now labeled A New Hope and you watched it now, there's so many beats that are such a part of American pop culture and world pop culture that, okay, I may not know how all these things connect together, but I know who these characters are. I know what this scenario is, what the situation is, kind of thing.
Yeah. I know Obi-Wan Kenobi's going to need the help.
Correct. I know stormtroopers are going to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the guy in, the black helmet's going to be mean.
Yeah.
So prior to this film, the way movies were released were in like batches. So cities would, or I guess the movie theaters would, would release film week number whatever over here, and then like 2 weeks later might release over here, and so it was like a rolling kind of thing. And that wasn't true for all films, but that was kind of like the general idea.
Right.
But to my understanding, this was the first movie summer blockbuster release across the board.
Right.
And June 20th, 1975.
Yeah.
And that was as we just said, like the start of every summer we've got to release this kind of like big tentpole movie to the point of like within the last, 2 decades. Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. In the last 50 years, there's like now what's competing for that summer blockbuster movie? Like what is the movie of the summer?
Yeah. Yeah. The year that it was released, it became the highest grossing film ever.
Yep.
And then was overtaken 2 years later by Star Wars.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, it was the original summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
And like I was while I was watching it, I was Googling stuff and like, trying to figure out who actors were, what are the things have I seen you in, and like looking up like some of the stories of like it being made and stuff, but like on a $9 million budget.
Yeah, which is nothing.
Yeah. Made $450 something million.
Insane. And to be fair,
what a beast.
Spielberg was what, like 27, 28, like late 20s.
Yeah.
He was still young. I think the movie he did Duel before that, and I think that was, I could be botching this a little bit, but I think that was basically it.
Right.
He was basically still a student filmmaker.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, go make this movie. And I know that it was plagued by a slew of issues.
Right.
Primarily the shark.
Yep.
It was a mechanical shark. It did not work well. They freaking shot most of the movie in Martha's Vineyard.
Yep.
And like you're shooting in actual salt water and you're shooting in actual, beach conditions.
Yeah.
And so like
that was something I read. It was like this was the first movie shot on open water.
Right.
Like out in the ocean.
And still weirdly like one of the few that has done it almost completely.
Right.
Because like just of how unpredictable everything is and like
Right.
what a nightmare it is to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. To not at some point utilize a sound studio.
Right.
Sound stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I know that the majority of it was shot in Martha's Vineyard. Like having gone to Martha's Vineyard, that iconic scene of the shark going into the, what they call pond or like the lagoon area under that bridge. Like I've biked across that bridge before. Right. And like you're there and you're like, oh, like you shot a movie here? Interesting.
Right.
And not just a movie, but you shot this movie?
Right.
Wow. Okay. Right. Yeah. Interesting.
Right.
So overall, what'd you think?
It's got all your, like, I think what's really interesting about it is that it's very dated.
Yes.
It's very much the 70s.
Correct.
And so how movies have changed, and now like seeing that movie for the first time that is this iconic movie, and seeing, how so much of it is void of like what movies are today.
Yeah.
Is refreshing. It's fun to watch those kind of old movies.
You mean like zero CGI?
No CGI. Yeah. Obviously like just really no, like, like the most technological thing in the movie is Hooper's boat with its technology.
Right.
And it's just very simple, radar shit. But like physically how the movie was made. Like, like there's like scenes, like there's a couple of different shots of like where we're looking at something in the distance, and then there's also somebody really close to the camera.
Yes.
But they're both in perfect focus, except for like you can see this real hazy line in between them where there's clearly something going on with lenses and stuff like that. So like there's a physicality to the production. Like obviously like, at this point in time, I'm sure it was completely different at the time, but to watch it now, like the mechanism that is the shark is very noticeable, and things like that, and puppetry and things like that are much more noticeable, but it's kind of enjoyable in that way.
Oh yeah.
To like see it feel kind of like an actual physical thing.
And I think you're right. Like that's what, even as a kid, watching it as a kid, it's a scary movie. And I think it's still a scary, as an adult, I think it's still a scary movie. I don't know if I'd call it a horror movie. It's the practical element of the whole thing. And it's to me, it's also like the film grain. And like, because it's shot in the 70s, it's shot on film. There's, some of the editing choices, the acting choices, like the scene where Mayor Vaughn and Brody and Hooper are all around the shark sign. Mm-hmm. And like Hooper and Brody are having a conversation, and then Hooper and Vaughn are having a conversation, then Vaughn and Brody are having a conversation. It's like that whole, like how they shot all of that is just like, it is still done today, sure.
Right.
But it's so just perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels lived in, because in some ways, because of where you shot the majority of this movie, it is lived in.
You're right.
And it just feels genuine.
Right. It almost feels like more like closer to like a stage production.
Almost,
like you're actually watching a performance, not so much like that we're in this narrative.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. But yeah, like I think, that there were absolutely, like, Lorelai watched it with me.
Yeah.
And so, the scene where Hooper goes down to investigate.
Oh man.
When that head floated out, she jumped.
Yeah.
That was like in our living room, like she jumped.
Gardner's boat, man.
She's like, whoop, that got me.
Poor Gardner.
She's like, that totally got me. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like, come on, like Hooper, you're gonna go in. That there's something out here eating things, and you're gonna go in a what?
Yeah, there's a couple of like things like that were like, I think nowadays you wouldn't do it in that way.
Yeah,
because you are gonna have people nitpick.
But I do have an argument for that. And that's some of my analysis of the movie. It's this like machismo kind of thing. And I want to talk about the 3 variations eventually.
Okay.
I agree with you completely, but I have an analysis of that.
Okay. But a lot of things that like, that you wouldn't see in movies today.
Correct.
And not just like that kind of a thing, but like certainly like elements of like, that's just not reality today.
Right.
Might have been back in the 70s, but like there's just some things like that. But like also too, just like, I don't think you show a kid getting straight up mutilated by a shark in a movie today. I don't think that happens today.
No.
I think that was something that you could get away with back then. Today, I think,
they would cut away from it or something.
Yeah, I just don't know that they would allow you to show it in that way.
Yeah.
Of like, that kid's on that raft and all of a sudden just, and then huge red explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just don't think you could shoot it like that. I think the sensory stuff would jump on you too much.
Yeah,
you can't show that.
That movie's rated PG.
Nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, it came out before PG-13 rating.
Right.
I think originally,
but I think that shot alone gives you an R today.
Yeah. Well, I think originally like, that's what it was supposed to be, was an R, and then like I don't know if they changed some things, because obviously the first.
Well, you get a full-on boob in this movie. Like that's wild that you get a PG.
Yeah, it's PG, man.
70s. Telling you, smoke a cigarette and just chuck it right into the ocean. You don't care.
Different time.
Fucking chucking all kind of shit in the ocean in this movie.
I know. Okay, so did you like it? You're not gonna hurt me. You're looking at me like
I enjoyed watching the movie.
Okay.
To me, I don't ever need to watch it again.
Okay.
Like, because I have no nostalgia baked into it.
Sure.
So it doesn't give me any kind of thing like that. It's very straightforward. I feel like, not that everything's like telegraphed, but there's no real surprising turns in anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like all the characters are very one-dimensional.
Sure. Predictable in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I see how, like, it's certainly like a very intense, and again, for the time period, I totally get it. Yeah. I get why it is the movie that it is and has the reputation that it has. But, just watching it fresh today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I felt like it was just kind of like, okay, like I get it, but it just doesn't hold up to me the same way that like Jurassic Park does.
Yeah, I can see it.
Just in terms of like
I can
story.
See that. Sure.
Like it's just kind of, you know where it's going.
Yep.
And there's just no real surprises to any of it.
And
the mayor's a jerk.
Yeah.
He's a jerk the whole time until he pays the price for it, kind of a thing. Like everything was just kind of surface level.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's a product, like you said, of the time period and of the we're trying to make a movie.
Yeah.
And like
on $9 million.
Right. And we want
incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing like, there's nothing in it that's we're trying to be groundbreaking.
Right.
It's we're telling a story.
Yeah.
And so I think in some ways it's also where you look at Spielberg's, where his career goes, and you see that in Jurassic Park of like everything that he did over the preceding years culminates in some ways in Jurassic Park of like, I'm telling a story. There's all this societal criticism going on. There's also all of this, the confluence of now what CGI is in the early 90s and practical effects and acting and all these kind of things.
Right.
So like, to me, what's cool is you see the genesis of that in his career.
Right.
I love this movie. I think for me,
like, this is your favorite movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 30 movies in. Yeah, I would say it is.
If you had to say your favorite movie,
it's gonna be Jaws.
Yeah, but it's probably Jaws.
It's probably Jaws or Interstellar, but probably Jaws. No, it truly, yeah, it's probably Jaws. And I think you mentioned nostalgia. I think there's a lot of nostalgia for me in this movie.
Yeah,
I've seen it dozens of times.
Right,
and I usually watch it once a year in the summer. And for me, there's this like, because it's so predictable and because I've seen it so much, I'm always also, same with Gatsby, reading Gatsby, I'm looking for things that I don't know. And that's what makes it interesting to me too.
Right.
Of like, I know the, the movie, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Like things that you don't know about the production?
No, like things that I've never noticed before, or like just little, it's like minute things of like, why did Roy Scheider do this versus this? Or like, maybe things that I've forgotten. I've seen it again so many times over the last 30 something years that I don't remember that. Or like, I was listening to somebody talk about Jaws. And so Ben Gardner, that's his boat that you see Hooper dive into. But like they reference Ben Gardner's boat, but you never see Ben Gardner. And they were talking about like, well, who's this Ben Gardner character? You actually see him several times.
Yeah, I was wondering
scenes before that,
like in the everybody's getting their shit together.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like one of the things of why was that choice made, or like
I know
when all the fishermen are getting together, there's like dudes going out in like canoes.
Yeah,
and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like that doesn't make sense. Like y'all should have done something different with that.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like those kinds of things.
And like now knowing like the screenplay was just a hot mess.
Yeah.
So Peter Benchley wrote the novel.
Right.
And this is, I think, like, not that other films hadn't been adapted from novels before, because they have, but Jaws came out in 74, the book, and then the film came out in 75. Oh yeah. It was like an 18-month difference between like when the book came out and when the film came out. Like it was very fast, or maybe like the book was like late 73, something like that. It was super fast.
Crazy.
So Peter Benchley helped work on the film, but then also a couple other people helped work on the film too. Spielberg obviously worked on the film, the screenplay, and like it was a hot mess. There were so many things that they would like the day of just scrap that whole scene and like rewrite the whole scene, or they would like have the scene in mind, and Spielberg is like, okay, so here's what we need to accomplish. We need to write the scene. So, Scheider and Dreyfuss have things to say, and they would do that kind of on the fly.
Right.
So like, I think it shows.
And that's what I mean. Like it almost feels more like you're watching a play.
Right.
Because it does, so much of this movie has that kind of element of like, we're just utilizing what we have available. So like, yeah, you can go watch, a Broadway play where they've got a huge budget and it's a whole ass production, but then you can also go watch that same play in a local theater where they're just kind of scrapping stuff together, and that's what this feels like.
It does.
It has that kind of aesthetic to it.
Yeah, and I think that's partially why I like it.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And like I also have an affinity for New England as a whole. Like I do like New England.
Yep.
Except for you, Boston. I don't like Boston. You can fight me, and that's okay. I will take on the whole city of Boston. Yeah. Parking your car down by the river.
Sounds like from New York. So that was a weird joke too. The way he said it, I thought he was doing a Boston accent. She's like, "Sound like you're from New York." Huh?
Again, I adore this movie.
Yeah.
I do have some analysis of the movie.
Okay.
But at first I want to talk about a little bit of the book.
Okay.
Because you've not read Jaws. Okay.
I have read a book about the USS Indianapolis several years ago.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a cool, like as soon as he said that he was from that, I was like,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Makes it way more, like I was super pissed off when he died. But
yeah,
I was like, oh, fuck. Why'd y'all do that? Like, why do you let him die to this shark? He fucking survived that shit. I guess like there's something poetic about he died
that's exactly why.
The same way that his fellow Navymen did.
His whole being post the Indianapolis was also getting revenge on sharks.
Right.
And so like it again, I think that poetic of like, well, the shark ultimately got revenge on you, if you will.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess you see his workshop and it's all the
shark,
all the jaws.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, fuck that. Like, why'd y'all kill him?
Okay, again, I have some analysis that I want to get to. But Peter Benchley wrote the book.
Okay.
And the book is 9 times out of 10, I will always say the book is better than the movie.
Yeah.
Except in this case. The book is just bizarre. So like Richard Dreyfuss, who plays Hooper, he is still the out of town boy, has a love affair with Brody's wife because like she's also from this like wealthy family, and she goes to Amity and like falls in love with the local boy who's Brody. Ultimately, Brody goes to New York and is a cop there. Then they go back to Amity and like their marriage is on the rocks anyway. So like there's this weird super love thing going on. Mayor Vaughn is in bed with the mafia somehow, which is why like all the decisions that he makes of trying to keep the beaches open is really because of that.
Right.
Hooper dies in the book. Like there's some like weird subplotty things that just are, it's bizarre.
Right.
I'm not saying the book is bad.
See, like I felt like that would have made more sense for Hooper to die than Quint.
See, and I think that that's a part of also you have the source material and they're trying to deviate a little bit, but also like write some of the things in there. Like, it's never explained why Mayor Vaughn's a dick other than like he's the mayor. But like when you add I
mean, it's, you know, they depend on, this is their tourist season.
Correct.
They depend on that. If we remove that, then we're all going to have a real shitty year.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but.
Well, so in the book, it goes further into it of like Amity in the book is not its own island. Amity is on Long Island, like it's a city, town on Long Island.
Like it takes place in New York.
Yeah. Whereas in the film, Amity is basically Martha's Vineyard. It's its own island.
Right.
So in the book, he talks about Mayor Vaughn kind of goes into this is it. Like we only have, June to August to make all of our money.
Right.
And if we don't, like I think the line is something like 3 out of 10 families are on welfare the rest of the year, but like it's feast or famine kind of thing.
Right.
And people leave Amity because there's no jobs here. So like we depend on this. There's nothing that we have to do this.
Right.
Which is discussed in the movie, but not to that extent.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's just like, we got to make that tourism dollar.
Right. And so, but when you add the more nuance of like, he owes money to the mob somehow, and there's some other things, like it actually adds to the characters. But I think for me, the film in this case is just 1,000 times better than the book. But that's just me.
Right.
What was your favorite character?
Probably Quint.
Yeah. Why?
Just like the rugged pirate that he is. He's very much like a fish out of water. Yeah. He doesn't really get along with society because of the shit that he's seen. Like he's no good to it. Like, and he is just like this, like I really kind of was hoping at the end when he gets bit that it was just going to take his leg off and then he's going to have a peg leg and be just like a legit pirate.
Yeah.
Or like get his eye gouged out or somewhere and he's got to get an eye patch. Like he was just literally going to like turn into like this old man in the sea kind of a thing. That's what I was rooting for when I saw like the attack happening. And then like, oh no, fuck, he's got him up to the waist.
He's getting
like,
bit in
all right,
half.
Back went.
Yeah.
And like that's like another thing of like, you would do that, not that scene differently, but at the end of it all, it's such a happy we did it kind of a thing where you wouldn't have that ending today.
No.
That ending would be so much more just like devastation and actual like I just went through this kind of a thing instead of
the mental toll.
Yeah, instead of like Hooper coming up out of the water finally, like, where the fuck you been, man? We could have used you up here. But like, whatever. He finally comes back up and they're just like smiling at each other and like, man, we did it.
Yeah.
We got it.
Okay. So that's a perfect segue into some of my analysis here.
Okay.
And this analysis is obviously 50 years removed from like the heart of the movie. For me, it's a buddy film.
Right.
To be fair, I love the three characters as a whole, but there's something about Hooper.
Mm-hmm.
He's a funny character. He's a little bit incisive. He's not dopey like Brody can be a little dopey.
Mm-hmm.
But my analysis is it's the three kind of versions of masculine identity.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so you just said Quint, there's this like rugged masculine nature. Like, I've seen some shit.
Nothing really scares me.
Right.
I have no fear.
Correct. Because I've seen shit.
Yeah.
Hooper is the intelligent bravado because of that intelligence and experience in that way.
Yep.
He has an experience.
Bit nerdy.
Correct. And so there's the masculinity in that way. And Brody is this kind of like, I'm
cowboy.
Yeah. Like the cop kind of idea. Like, I have this authority, but I'm also not a fighter.
He's the moral compass for the movie.
Correct. And he's also, his masculinity is a little less on display, where like they're showing the scars and he like lifts his up and it's like an appendix scar. He lifts his shirt up and like,
he's like, I'm not gonna share.
Yeah. And he like puts it back down, or he's very
That's funny. I didn't even pick up on that. I remember making a joke about it when he did it, and I was just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Why did he just like look in his pants?
Yeah. So like
I've got. No, I don't want to talk about it.
Hooper shows like the tiger
now.
shark or bull shark bite on his leg or whatever.
Yeah.
Quint shows the one from the Indianapolis, and then the one over his heart, so and so.
Oh yeah,
that's the bad one.
Yeah.
And Brody lifts it up, and it's an appendix scar because he's not as experienced as they are in that same way. So I think it's like this kind of version of masculinity, and why this works is you have these three versions of men put on an island, if you will, together.
Right.
And so like now they're navigating this thing, the shark, but they're also in some ways navigating the three versions of men.
Yeah. And it's like, in that moment, I guess it is kind of like a search for like who really is in charge here.
Right.
Who's really the captain, who's really the leader of the group, and it's kind of like, all right, which one of us is the alpha?
Yeah, absolutely.
Within
absolutely.
that. Yeah. And that is interesting. Like I would say that like the movie as a whole feels too long.
Ooh, okay.
Like I think there's scenes that are like that. Well, while certainly you need changes in pacing and things like that, but like I felt like once they get to the boat and once they're on the boat, that feels like the halfway point of the movie.
Yes.
And I feel like that should feel like the last third of the movie.
I can agree to that.
It's like I think you need the buildup of like all the deaths and the killings, and like those things create anxiety.
Yeah.
But then once they got to the boat, it just, I guess there was like the first attempt at getting him, and that didn't work. And then you have like a couple of scenes where it is like we're figuring out how to work as a team kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was kind of pacing issues there for me for that last half.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where I think you could have chopped it down. Like I think of when they decide to go, there's the dinner scene, where
Hooper brings the wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole scene felt long and unnecessary.
Yeah. So I think that is taken from the book, in which like there's this confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
I could be mincing it a little bit. Whereas Brody is aware that there's a thing going on between Hooper and his wife. And so, but they morphed that, but they kept the scene.
Right.
And so like it feels weird.
Yeah. Like you could have like, from the, we got the shark, it's done, let's celebrate.
Yeah.
To later that night realizing that like Hooper goes and does the autopsy on the shark anyway and realizes, nah, that ain't our shark.
Yeah.
Like that could have been 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And just moved that right along pacing wise.
Yep.
To do this like weird scene at the house, and then it felt really out of character that Sheriff
Brody,
he agrees to go, but he's like still taking the wine with him. And it's like, you have been the moral compass.
Yeah.
Like, you're the one that's like, well, why are you just like sloshing drinks around right now? Like, it just didn't seem, it felt like a very different character through that, and then going out onto the boat to go discover the wreckage, and he's still just like drinking the whole time, and it's just like, bro. Like,
yeah. Well, I think like for him, it's that like, I hate the water. I'm like, but you moved to an island, and they make reference to that multiple times. Like, he doesn't go in the water.
Right. It's only an island when you're looking at it from the water.
From the water, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it kind of, those scenes do add nuance, but I agree with you. Like, I love that right before Hooper gets there, Brody's son imitates everything he's doing.
Right.
And I like that because it adds nuance to who Brody is. And like, ultimately he's a family man.
Right.
But I don't need it. Like, I already saw how you reacted to your son almost dying. And like the shock of that, I see like you have this moral compass. I don't need more of that dad element. So you could actually absolutely cut some of that down for sure.
Right.
And I mean, I love it for what it is, but if it were, I think it's like just over 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
If it were an hour and a half, then there are some beats that you could cut out. I don't know if it'd make it better, but I think the pacing would be better.
I think the movie would, like that one, it felt like a director's cut kind of a thing. It felt like there was just a lot of additional conversations and moments and things that we kind of sat with a little too long.
Yeah.
That could have been just kind of cleaned up a little bit. But again, knowing that this was just something they slapped together, essentially, it's like, nah, I get it. But, and because editing happens on the back end of everything anyway, they would have already been like crunched for time anyway. And, we could have used another month to edit this down a little bit more, but shit, we got to get this thing in theaters. So it kind of makes sense that way too.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. And speaking of things, being maybe a little bit too long, at the risk of maybe this episode going a bit too long, how about we have another beer?
We can risk it.
I've got one that also would relate back to our time in Maine.
Okay.
It's from Allagash.
Yeah. I've got an idea.
Okay.
Let's do this beer.
Yep.
And then I say, because you just watched Jaws.
Yep.
And I've
seen it twice.
a little bit of experience. I think we put our Jaws knowledge to the test and we quiz each other.
Okay.
What's our beer?
It is the Allagash. This is the Surfbird.
Surfbird. That's my nickname in college.
No shit.
Yeah, right.
This is the Pilsner with New Zealand hops.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's, from Maine with love.
We love some Allagash.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Would you pick this up down here? You went up to Allagash.
I went up to yeah, no, I got this down here at a my wife got it at Joe Foods. There it is.
Okay, yeah, I know Joe Foods.
Whole
Joe's.
What is Trader? Whole Traders.
Whole
Trader holes.
She got it at Whole Traders?
Yeah, gross. Wait a second. What was she doing there? This here comes in 5.4.
Oh, okay.
ABV.
Yeah. But it's a Pilsner, so it should theoretically be in the same kind of wheelhouse, like a light
I would assume so.
Beer?
Easy drinking Pilsner pops with New Zealand's famous tropical and citrusy hops.
When you think of New Zealand, you think of tropical?
I mean,
I've only been there,
tiny island.
Sure. 2 tiny. Well, I guess actually more, but
yeah, I mean, I feel like tropical would make sense. I mean, obviously, I think of New Zealand, I think of Lord of the Rings, which is like
that's what I was just gonna,
nothing tropical.
Yeah.
Whoa, got a whiff of that.
It's a little. I love this can, man. Like it starts with the orange at the top and kind of fades into the pink.
Yeah, a little tropical sunset.
Oh, I get it. Surfbird. It's a puffin.
Yeah,
yeah,
a little puffin.
New Zealand's known for
New Zealand
puffins.
Penguin. The puffin. Yeah, I like it has like a texture to it.
It does have a texture. Yeah,
I spared no expense. Spielberg reference.
Yeah, I got it.
Got some tangy funk on it.
It does, but it's a fruit. Like when you get past that first initial like tang, it's fruit.
Yeah, tropical fruit. Yeah,
it
maybe
smells
like a guava.
Yeah, it smells like a tropical fruit salad. Like crack open that Dole can, not Skull can. That's a different kind of can. And it's really nice. It's a little hazy.
Yep.
But I'd say on the lighter side, golden straw.
Yeah, I would say it's a shade lighter than the Narragansett.
Agreed.
But yeah, much more haze.
Shall we?
We shall.
Ooh,
surprisingly bitter.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice bitter. That's a crisp
man.
bitter.
That like that eases into a sweetness.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
I expected more hop. I expected a little bit more of the IPA note, but that doesn't come into play with the exception of the bitter. But yeah, it's a crisp bitter.
It's got a really good mouthfeel. Not so much oily, but like chewy, just thick. But like not in an oily way, like not in a clingy way.
Yeah.
It's clean.
The finish is not days long. Like it's still a little bit, like you said, clingy, a little bitter, but it doesn't like just hang on forever.
Yeah. No, there's a lovely like that bitter pillow aftertaste that just kind of sits on your palate. Is nice.
Yeah. Man.
Pretty complex and like not at all surprising being from Allagash.
No. It's not in the same vein as like something like a Narragansett. This is you want to think about this a little bit. I mean, you could totally just, crush this if you wanted, but there's more to think about here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a beer flavored beer.
Mm-mm.
It is really nice though.
But yeah, I don't mind it. But it's not a crush on the beach.
No.
Brew. Yeah, this is more like sitting out on your balcony.
Yep.
After you've come in and had a shower.
Correct. Like you've mowed the lawn.
Yeah.
And you're cooling down.
Yeah.
And you want something to help cool you down, but you're just going to sit here for a
but you're not parched.
Correct.
Yeah. I think this would be a tough drink if you're like, man, I need to get some fluid in me.
Yeah.
This is you're going to fight this one.
It is a fantastic beer though.
Yeah, rather tasty. Don't mind it at all.
All right. So,
all right.
As promised, you want to do a little bit of Jaws trivia.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
give it a shot. See how well I paid attention.
Okay. We've got 5 questions. We've got 10 questions. All right. 5 are going to be on the easy side, and 5 are going to be difficult, if you will.
Those are yours, and I get the 5 easy ones. I see you ask me the 5 easy ones, and I'll ask you the 5 hard ones. Because, like, in a situation, if I was doing, my all-time favorite movie, I would feel confident.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Be hard to place it. Like, just
never seen that one.
Right off the top, I go straight to Indiana Jones: Last Crusade, but might would require me to give me a little bit more thought into it.
I am confident that Last Crusade, you would beat me in a quiz on Last Crusade for sure. Yeah. I've seen it, but it's not my favorite Indiana Jones.
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, I would feel confident in answering really difficult questions about that.
Okay. Fair.
I will ask you.
Yeah, I mean? I'll ask you the easier questions, and you ask me the hard questions.
Okay.
Number 1.
Yep.
Ready? What is the name of the island where Jaws takes place?
What's really funny is, like, during our whole conversation, I couldn't remember it, but you said
it so many times.
Well, not so many. You definitely said it a few times, but it's Amity.
Amity Island. That is correct. These are multiple choice, so I can give you multiple choice if you need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, when you finally said it, I was like, that's right. I knew it was 5 letters. I could remember that.
Yeah.
But I could not remember what those letters were. Amity.
Which means friendship.
Yes.
Number 2. What is Chief Brody's first name?
Daniel?
Do you want me to give you? I got multiple choice.
Yeah, give me some multiple choice.
Richard, James, Martin, or Jack?
Bummer.
Yeah.
Daniel, not one of them.
Nope.
Same again, Richard,
James, Martin, or Jack?
Huh.
Yeah.
Richard.
That is incorrect.
Bummer.
His name is Martin.
Yeah,
I think Hooper is the only one that refers. No, Vaughn might refer to him as Martin too. I think Hooper refers to him as Martin, but Quinn only calls him Chief.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
So you got half right now.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Number 3. What do the 2 towny men throw off the pier to attract a shark?
The 2 county men?
Towny, the two men from Amity. What do they throw off a pier to attract the shark?
Yeah, I got to give me multiple choice.
All right, they throw an empty wetsuit, a mannequin, a roast, or a trout.
Don't know. I'm going to say trout.
A roast. The wife's. I think it's the wife's Sunday roast. Yep.
I got one for you. When we first see Quint, he is walking into a pub. What is the name of the pub?
Oh my God, that is what? Holy shit!
I remember the scene.
I remember the scene too.
What's the name of that pub?
Is this multiple choice?
Yep.
Okay, give it to me.
Lobster Lagoon.
Yeah.
Seaside Pub.
Okay.
Whalers Tavern or Oysters Cove.
Oh my God. I'm gonna go with Oyster Tavern.
It was either Whalers Tavern or Oysters Cove.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Oysters Cove.
It's definitely not Oysters Cove.
Okay. Wow.
It's Whaler's Tavern.
That was my second choice.
Yeah, you were right there. You got Tavern.
Got Oyster's Tavern. Okay, give me another one.
The first time you see Sean Brody on the beach, he is singing a song.
Oh my!
What is the name of the song?
Did you just Google like impossible?
I said difficult Jaws trivia.
Okay.
Multiple choice.
Sure.
Itsy Bitsy Spider. Row, row, row your boat. Hush, little baby. Do you know the Muffin Man?
Oh, I'm down to 2. I'm gonna go row, row, row your boat.
Not row, row, row your boat.
Muffin Man?
Do you know the Muffin Man?
Yeah, those are the 2 I was between.
Sean is clearly singing Do You Know the Muffin Man. This can be heard right before Alex Kittner is killed.
Yeah. So you've done 3. Give me one more.
All right.
Oh, God, I don't like that.
In the scene where a teenage boy is throwing a stick to his dog.
Oh, yeah.
What is the name of the dog?
This is ridiculous. Like, okay, Jesus, man.
You've watched this movie enough times.
I have,
You've got to
like,
be able to say, I know that scene. He throws
I do know the scene.
Does the dog die?
No, but
You never see the dog again.
yeah, but
I think that dog died.
I think the dog dies. Now that you say that, yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
I think that.
Like we were sitting there watching that, we were like, don't let him get the dog.
yeah, I think he does.
Don't. And
But
then
you don't
then
see it.
you just see the stick
That's
floating in the water.
True. Yeah.
I think we're insinuating
That dog
done
dead.
got
Yeah.
dead.
Okay. Give me a multiple choice.
Piper, Pippa, Pipit, Pippin. That's some fucked up multiple choice. Piper, Pippa, Pippit, Pippin.
I'm between Pippet and Pippin. Yeah,
I can take out Piper and Pippin. It's either Pippa or Pipit.
It's Pipit because the way he's. Ooh, I know because in that scene where you just see the floating stick, he's calling the dog's name.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You gotta play that line through your head.
Pipit. I'm gonna say Pipit.
You're right.
Yeah. Ooh,
Pipit.
1 for 3. 1 for 3. We're both 1 for 3. That's okay. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm gonna give you another one.
All right.
How does Brody kill the shark?
By blowing up the compressed air tank.
Yeah, he jams a compressed air tank into its mouth and shoots it.
Another thing, like that needed to be condensed.
Yeah.
He chucked it into his mouth, and it's just like gargling in his mouth for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, no, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He would have spit that thing out. Like that needed to be like chuck, boom.
Correct.
You know, like that needed to be way faster. Like he's not just gonna swim around with that thing like bobbing in and out of his mouth for 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm gonna ask you one that's not multiple choice though.
Okay.
Finish the quote. By Quint.
Okay.
For that much money, you get the head, the tail.
Oh my God.
How much money?
Was it $10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. For that much money, you get the head, the tail, and the whole
4 words.
and the whole shebang. Yeah, I don't know that one.
The whole damn thing.
The whole damn thing. Ugh. Okay. I got another one. What is the name of Quint's boat?
The orca.
The Orca. Yeah. All right.
And I noticed too, like I could be completely wrong about this, but I remember thinking it at the beginning of their voyage.
Yeah.
It's very clear white lettering on the back of the boat.
Interesting.
Orca.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, it's like you can barely read it anymore.
Huh.
I don't know if that was intentional or maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
Yeah, I don't
but like,
know. I don't know
feel
that.
like I remember reading the orca like so clearly.
Yeah.
And then, but by the end of it, towards, after the ship's already starting to fall apart and stuff like that, and they're working on it, it was like you could barely read the letters anymore.
Interesting.
I was like, huh.
Wow.
Was that just like y'all failed to notice that?
And my last question.
When Hooper is in the Brody residence, he tells Ellen that he was leaving the next day to spend 18 months on a boat. Gross.
Yeah.
What is the name of the boat?
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's so stupid.
Is it the Nautil, the Aurora, the Jason, or the Sea Wind?
It's the Aurora.
It is the Aurora.
Yeah, it's the Aurora. First of all, because the other 3 doesn't sound like nothing. Yeah, and I know that I know that quote. I know that conversation.
I got a few more.
Okay. All right. So what does that give me? Two for 5, and you're 3 for 5?
I think we're both 2 for 5.
Nah, you got 3.
Okay.
Yeah, you 3 for 5. Okay.
I'm going to give you a bit of an easy one. I'm not giving you multiple choice on this one.
Okay.
Because I would have known it without it. Because I just remember it very clearly. And I'm not going to ask you the full digits.
Oh.
When Hooper and Brody go to the autopsy on the tiger shark, a license plate was pulled out. What state is the license plate from?
I think it's New York.
It's Louisiana.
Louisiana?
Yep. Louisiana.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. What famous line was ad-libbed by Roy Scheider?
Gonna need a bigger boat? They don't get that bigger boat.
They don't get that bigger boat. Yeah, and actually, I heard a story that it was basically like that line was definitely ad-libbed, but he was referring to the film production, and it wasn't actually.
It just happened to get caught.
And like
That's funny.
it just it got it. Yeah,
That's good. After the autopsy of the tiger shark, Hooper and Brody decide to look for the real shark. While on the boat, Hooper is eating something. What is he eating?
Is it crackers? What's multiple choice?
Multiple choices: pretzels, cheese curls, potato chips, onion rings.
I'm gonna say pretzels.
Yeah, eating pretzels. And he said, "Want a pretzel?"
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna ask you a fairly difficult one. Can I ask you a fairly difficult one?
I'll allow it.
Okay. To test Hooper's knowledge of sailing,
Yeah.
Quint asks him to tie a specific knot. You know what?
Nope.
Okay. A bowline, a sheet bend, a sheep shank, or a clove hitch.
Yep. No clue.
Give me
Bow
one.
line.
It's a sheep shank.
Sheep shank.
Yeah. He says, tie me a sheep shank, and Hooper responds with something like, how do you want it? You didn't say how you wanted it, or something like that.
Yep.
Let's do one more each,
Okay.
because it's a weird number, and I like it. Where are we at? 7 each? Who knows?
Same question, but for two different characters. First, according to Hooper, how big is the killer shark? 25 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 21 feet.
Because he's talking about a monster shark, and he's like, this is a huge shark. Ah, boy, I think it's 30.
When Hooper sees the shark, he says, "That's a 20-footer."
Dang.
But then also, according to Quint, how big is the killer shark?
Oh, same set of questions, or same set of
No, he
Okay.
says 25 feet, 3 tons. 30 feet, 6 tons. 20 feet, 1 ton. 27 feet, 5 tons.
This is ridiculous. I'm gonna go 30 again. 36 tons.
He said 25 feet,
Okay.
3 tons of him. What song does Quint always sing?
Farewell and adieu, you Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you maidens of Spain. Or ladies of Spain?
Is it Ladies of Spain?
Ladies of Spain.
Underneath the arches?
Nah.
I surrender, dear?
Nah.
Hello, my lover, goodbye.
Ladies of Spain. What is the nickname during the film's production of the shark? Do you know this?
The
shark was given a
I feel like
nickname.
I've heard this.
Yeah.
Multiple choice?
Multiple choice, sure. A, Chomper. B, Meg. C, Bruce. D, Big Red.
I'm going to guess Bruce.
Okay.
Just because of Finding Nemo.
And that's also why Bruce's name in Finding Nemo.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah. So I think the story goes that like they nicknamed him after Spielberg's lawyer, because like there was a lot of legal crap going on. The shark was an issue. The legalese was an issue.
Right.
So I think that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know how many questions we just asked, because we went back and forth for a long time.
I think we passed.
We edited some things out. I feel like those were some very difficult questions you gave me.
Yeah. That's what I was
love
I remember there was this old like game show.
Yeah.
Not old, but like it was like a game show when we were younger.
Yeah.
And it was just like a bunch of pop culture questions, and if you won the game, you got the opportunity to go to like this like final thing. And in that final thing, they asked you a singular question about one thing that you knew the most about.
Right.
And it was like either like, it was like a movie or something that was like, that's my area of expertise is this. And you
Sure.
asked me one question about that. And I always remember like thinking like, what would be that thing for me?
Yeah.
Of what do I know the most about this one thing?
I mean, there's
that you could ask me anything about it and I would know it.
like those questions to me though are just like they're so nuanced, and it's like, how many steps does C-3PO take in the first scene that you see him?
I don't think any of them were that obscure.
Okay, maybe not that obscure, but like you see what I'm saying?
How
like,
many hairs are on so-and-so's eyebrow,
Right.
left eyebrow? No, it's not. I don't think any of them were that bad. I think it's
No,
just
no.
like I've watched this.
Okay.
Because I think there are people out there that
Sure.
are like,
Oh yeah.
I've watched it that many. Like clearly, like they
I know.
they wouldn't
yeah.
found the stuff.
So again, what for you is that film?
Movies that I've watched the most time, that I would
Yeah.
feel the most confident about, is ironically enough, just because we watch them as a family.
White Christmas.
White Christmas, Singing in the Rain, or a half dozen Disney movies.
Fair. Well, on that note, do you got anything else?
Nope. All out of beer.
All out of beer.
Narragansett is Narragansett. Gone. Never gone.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
out.
empty.
Yeah, it's done.
It's empty. I haven't seen Jaws yet this year, so I'm going to go watch it.
Okay.
I know you watched it last night.
You can go watch in the living room. I still got probably 7 hours on my rental.
Okay. Well, let's go watch it again together. I bet you there's things that we'll find out together.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay. We'd love to know, have you seen Jaws?
Surely. It's not just me. There's somebody else out there
That has not?
hadn't seen it before.
Yeah. And we'd love to know, what do you think about the Narragansett, the famous Narragansett lager?
Yeah. Classic. If you've never had it, absolutely go grab one.
Yeah, for sure.
You won't be disappointed.
Or,
The Allagash Surfbird.
yeah, that's a fantastic Pilsner.
Yep. Good stuff. Kind of surprising. I wouldn't have guessed Pilsner.
No. No. I would say like a just an ale, like a hoppy ale or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like a IPA, but like a pale ale.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. We'd also love to know, how are you celebrating the 50th anniversary of the release of Jaws?
Yeah. Have you seen Jaws 2?
I have.
Seen Jaws 3?
I have. Jaws 3, and it's also like Jaws 3 and Jaws 3D. Yeah.
Seen
And
Jaws 8?
no, Jaws the Revenge.
That's the one in Back to the Future 2,
Is Jaws 8?
I think. Might be mine.
Jaws the Revenge, I think, is the fourth one. I like shark movies. I like the Meg. I like the Meg, the Trench, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Sharks make a really good monster villain.
They do, and
there's
that's
something-
sad.
Well, it's just there's something, because they do have those black eyes.
Sure.
There is something not necessarily...
Feeling. There's no feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have like puppy dog eyes. Like I can't see anything where it's like,
Life.
oh,
right.
I feel it's just kind of fear.
Yeah, so
Like snakes.
Peter Benchley, after the film came out, he basically spent the rest of his life educating people on how sharks are good.
Oh yeah, and there's like a lot of stuff in that movie where it's like, that's not legit. Like what come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, y'all are being a little too hard on sharks.
Yeah. Well, and I think it did I guess it ignited a whole hatred for sharks too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're past it or moving past it.
Right.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. Come find us, like a thing, share a thing, comment on a thing, and we'll get right back to your things.
Absolutely. And we love it if you support the podcast. You can rate Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one. You can support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Drep and Stone. Helps keep everything moving smoothly. And finally, you can tell someone about Drep and Stone.
You sure can.
You're at the beach enjoying a famous Narragansett lager,
Yeah.
or whatever beach drink you like.
Yeah. You look over at your buddy sitting at the towel next to you, like, hey, did that kid just get eaten by a freaking shark? Was that an explosion of blood in the water?
Have you
Wow.
heard about Drep and Stone?
Yeah. I just watched Jaws the other day, and I listened to a podcast where these two guys talked about it.
Should we go make sure that
All
kid's
good
okay?
things. Yeah, let's go check on that kid right quick.
All good things. On that note, hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never get bitten by a shark. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.